What the heck happened in Montreal? Do we need to worry about Jake DeBrusk and Hampus Lindholm? What's the outlook for tonight's game against the Sabres? And where have I been? All this and more on a new episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoke to Be. Today is Tuesday, November 14th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. How do you do that? Well, it's free and available on your favorite podcast app, as well as on YouTube. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Each episode will be automatically added to your feeds for you to download, listen, watch, and enjoy. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins. You can find me, my hockey thoughts, and dad jokes at Ian C. McLaren. I want to begin by apologizing for a lack of an episode on Monday, November 13th. Those of you who follow me on X will know that I was down and out with a very bad head cold. Got up, drove my kid to school, and then immediately got back in bed and stayed there until about 4 o'clock. Usually, if you take a sick day, you're like, oh, maybe I can watch a show or read some of my book. None of that. I was literally in bed, sleeping, awake, just lying there for like 7 hours. Feeling better. And what's helping is this sweet new Centennial toque that I bought over the weekend on Sunday. We were down in Niagara for our kids' basketball games, hit up the outlet, and found this beauty gold-based Centennial toque that I just had to pick up. So that's where I've been. Where have the Bruins been? Well, they were in Montreal over the weekend, and depending on who you believe, perhaps they were a bit sluggish for having arrived in Montreal on Friday. Quite a vibrant nightlife in Montreal, some great spots to hit in the downtown core. Did the Bruins perhaps have their rookie dinner or get out there and live it up a little bit? I mean, it's debatable. Who knows? I have no verifiable proof. But on the ice, they were indeed a little sluggish against the Canadiens, and the result was a 3-2 overtime loss, with Kaden Gould scoring in the extra frame to give the Canadiens the extra point. Now, we will do our official Atlantic power rankings tomorrow, a bit too much to catch up with today. But overall, the Bruins still 11-1-2, only one regulation loss, 24 points, 1 point back of the Vegas Golden Knights for first overall in the NHL, and they're first when it comes to point percentage. So I can't fault the Bruins too much if they had a good time in Montreal. Over the last almost 100 games in the regular season, they've been one of the best in the NHL. An unexpectedly solid start here to the season. They've got a couple of rookies who scored their first goals last week. Another who's made great contributions so far. So, as long as nobody broke a foot, as has happened in the past, then I'm not too mad about them dropping a point in Montreal. Hopefully they can get back to it on Buffalo's ice tonight in a game against the Sabres, which we will preview later in the podcast. There were some positives in this one. I loved Jeremy Swayman taking exception to scramble in front of the net. His helmet was knocked off. He stared some guys down, threw a couple punches, challenged Sam Montembeault to come down and mix it up. a lot of dog in Jeremy Swayman, and you absolutely love to see it. Of course, they were going into the third with the lead. You would have liked to see them close it out. Actually, I think it was the Canadiens who had the lead going into the third, and the Bruins were able to tie it thanks to Brad Marchand. And unfortunately, they were not able to get the winning goal in overtime. The Bruins were led in ice time by Charlie McAvoy, who was making his return after serving a 4-game suspension, 26 minutes and 44 seconds of ice time. Jacob Lauko came back after missing the previous 7 games with that very scary eye injury. Marchand's goal tied Bobby Orr for 9th highest in Bruins history. And the Canadiens overall were 0-9-1 over their past 10 games against the Bruins. So I guess they were a bit due here. Again, you would have liked to have seen the Bruins finish things off. You would have liked to have seen them get the win over, let's be honest, a lesser team there. But, the road game in Montreal, perhaps some fun was had on Friday night. And overall, they still got a point, still off to the best start in the NHL. So I'm not going to get too mad about this one. Hopefully, it doesn't become a trend. And again, actually, you know what? I wasn't wrong. They were carrying a lead into the third period. I totally forgot. Pavel Zacha scored early in the first period, and then Nick Suzuki, Brendan Gallagher scored 2 goals within the first 51 seconds of the third. It would have been easy to collapse. Things spiral from there, but they did fight back. Marchand with the power play goal to push it to overtime, where the Canadiens got the victory. Shots were in favor of the Bruins, and just one of those games. Nothing too extraordinary to get worked up about, I don't think. And again, hopefully they bounce back tonight against the Buffalo Sabres, a game we'll preview before the end of today's podcast. Some questions about a couple of players in particular that have come up, most notably Jake DeBrusk and Hampus Lindholm. And we'll talk about whether or not we really need to worry about these two pretty key players here as the podcast continues. We spend a lot of time together, you and I. We get fired up on wins and losses, who starts, who sits, who's hot, who's cold. I'm thankful for that connection, and I want to get a bit more personal. I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply on ED medication. You know what that means? You can bring it on extended travel, you're covered during your next natural disaster or supply chain issue. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics for Cialis, Viagra. It's possible because of our friends at Jace Medical. Go online right now at jacemedical.com and receive a 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. If you or someone you love would get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. That's Jace Medical, JASE Medical.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. Thank you so much once again for making Locked On Bruins your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow on the show, you can expect a full recap of tonight's game against the Buffalo Sabres, as well as updated Atlantic Division power rankings. All right, I've seen rumblings on social media and in Bruins conversations about specifically Jake DeBrusk and Hampus Lindholm, and questions as to whether, we should be a bit worried about either of these two players. This time last year, Hampus Lindholm was in the Norris Trophy conversation, filling in admirably for Charlie McAvoy in his absence after, off-season surgery. This season, you're not hearing that at all. He's got 2 assists through 14 games. He's a -1 if you care about that thing. He actually is second on the team in penalty minutes at 22. He's averaging 24 minutes and 12 seconds of ice time, which is tops on the team. 1 power play assist, and he has 19 shots on goal. Now, you see those 2 assists. You see, those penalties popping up. Not super encouraging. And there's been some turnovers on the other end of the ice, etc., etc. Now, this isn't, TMZ. This isn't a gossip show, but I think there are perhaps some personal things going on at the moment. If you follow Hampus Lindholm and or his seemingly former partner, perhaps there's some other things on his mind at the moment, as they don't seem to be together right now. But also, if you dig in a little deeper, the numbers aren't that bad for Hampus Lindholm. At 5-on-5, he is second among defensemen with a shot attempt differential while he's on the ice of 53%, roughly. 270 shot attempts for while he's on the ice, 240 against. And yes, that 240 is a team high, but again, he's been averaging the most ice time. When it comes to shots for and against while he's on the ice, it's a 53% advantage as well. 136 shots for while he's on the ice, 120 against. Goals, he's been on the ice for 9. He's been also on the ice for 6 against, which is a percentage of 60%, which is still pretty solid. When it comes to high danger attempts, again, 57.29. He's been on the ice for 55 created by the Bruins, only 41 against. And high danger goals, 6-3. So again, 66.67 advantage. And he's been doing that with most of his zone starts coming in the defensive zone. So what does that tell us? Well, he is playing big minutes. He's not being sheltered by starting in the offensive zone, and he's still coming out on top when it comes to shots, shot attempts, high danger chances created when he's on the ice. The Bruins are doing better as a team when he's on the ice versus when he's off. So all things considered, it is a case of, he's not racking up the points. Perhaps he's getting some turnovers here and there, but overall, Hampus Lindholm still playing pretty well. And, he's not traditionally a offensive threat. Last year was a bit of an outlier that way. We'd, of course, like him to be on pace for more than 12 assists in a single season. But last year, career high 53, far and away better than he'd performed in the past. His previous career high was 34 points, so maybe he fall in line a bit closer to that. 0 point percentage at the moment, or shooting percentage. The puck will go in, career average of 5.7. So I'm not too worried about Hampus Lindholm, all things considered. And what about our boy Jake DeBrusk? He is stuck on 1 goal this season. And, a lot was expected of him after a bit of a breakout last year. He would have eclipsed the 30-goal mark had he not missed extended time after getting injured at the Winter Classic. At the moment, on pace for 6 goals, 23 assists for 29 points. What is going on with Jake DeBrusk? Well, his shooting percentage way, way down. He's still getting looks. He has a shooting percentage of 3.4, which is well down from his career average of 12.6. So part of it, just a matter of bad luck. At 5-on-5 this season, he's got 1 goal, 4 assists, 3 of which are primary in nature. When it comes to individual shot attempts, he is second on the Bruins with 46. at 5-on-5 play, second only to David Pastrnak, who's got 73. Brad Marchand with 45. High danger chances for, he is third on the Bruins with 12. And quite honestly, he's just not getting the kind of puck luck that he's used to, I guess. He's getting the looks, he's getting the shots, but unfortunately, they have just not been going in as of late. Statistically, on average, you would expect that this will indeed rise, and DeBrusk still getting the puck on net with regularity. At the moment, he has, let's see how many shots he's got on goal. Shots on goal right now, 29 through 13 games. So that's an average of, let's do some quick math here, 29 divided by 13, 2.23. And last season, he had 191 in 64 games, which is 2.98. So he's really getting the puck on net with the same regularity, but it's just not dropping for him right now. Last year, he had a 14.1 shooting percentage. He's more than 10% below that, and he's still getting high danger looks. He's still getting shot attempts. He's still generating offense. He leads the team with 3 rush attempts. He leads the team with, let's see here. He's second on the team in individual scoring chances, behind only David Pastrnak. Again, shot attempts, he's second on the team. Individual expected goals, he's third at 2.72, behind Pastrnak, Marchand, who are both at 3.51. He's doing all the right things. It's just not popping for him right now. Shooting percentage of 4.55 at 5-on-5 play. And he's also not getting primary power play time either. James Van Riemsdyk is the guy who's playing on the wing on the first power play unit. Jake DeBrusk currently on the second power play unit with Charlie Coyle, Matt Poitras, Kevin Shattenkirk, Hampus Lindholm. Those were the lines used most recently. Van Riemsdyk, Zacha, Marchand, Pastrnak, McAvoy. If you put DeBrusk in Van Riemsdyk's spot, perhaps you get the kind of production that Van Riemsdyk is offering. Amazing value on his 1-year deal for the Boston Bruins. Right now, he's got, last time I checked, he was on pace for career years, 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points. That's what you'd like to see from Jake DeBrusk. And it's worth noting Van Riemsdyk's shooting percentage is 12.5. So if that shooting percentage begins to correct for Jake DeBrusk, hopefully as early as tonight, we should start to see some positive regression and a better look at what he is actually capable of. And hopefully he gets off the schneid beginning tonight against the Sabres, a game that we'll preview here as the podcast continues. Get into the action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action. It's not just for football. Their app is so easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options like spreads, player props, and over-unders. For example, tonight's Bruins-Sabres game, the over-under is set at 6.5. So, do you think it will be a barn burner, or will it be a bit more tight checking? You can place a bet there at FanDuel by visiting FanDuel.com/lockedon. Get in on the action this NFL, NHL, NBA season with FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Bruins Sabres live from Buffalo tonight. The Sabres will be celebrating Kyle Okposo's 1,000th game. Maybe prior to puck drop. They did have discounted tickets if you're in the area like me. Unfortunately, I can't make the drive down because our kid has a basketball game tonight. Lines, not really any changes to note, Marchand will play with Zacha and Pasternak. Van Riemsdyk with Coyle and Frederick. That line's been cooking as of late. Heinen with Poitras and DeBrusk. Lauko with Beecher and Steen. And that's another thing to mention with Jake DeBrusk. I wouldn't mind seeing a line of, say, Marchand, Poitras, DeBrusk. We saw Marchand with some chemistry with DeBrusk in the past. He succeeded on that top line. Maybe he needs to jump up a bit and put Poitras with DeBrusk and Marchand. I'd really like to see that. Power play again. DeBrusk on the second unit with Lindholm, Shattenkirk, Poitras, and Coyle. McAvoy, Pasternak, Marchand, Zacha, JVR up top. The Sabres, we'll do our complete power rankings tomorrow, but the Sabres up to 500 despite having lost their last game. 7-1 through 15 games, a negative goal differential. This is a team that can be scored on. They also can put the puck in the net with great regularity, as right now they're still struggling, though. They're still fighting their way. 22nd, 2.93 goals, 4 per game. They're allowing 3.13. The Bruins still allowing a league low 2 goals per game, and they're scoring 3.21. 17th, you can still see an uptick there, but their defense really keeping them in line so far. Penalty kill taking a bit of a bump. They're second now at 90.9. Over the last 5 games for the Sabres, they are led in points by Peterka. Alex Tuch with 3 goals, Peterka with 3 assists. The Bruins, David Pastrnak with 7 points over his last 5 games. Charlie Coyle leading the way with 4 goals in that span. Pasta with 5 assists. I believe it will be an all-mark game. He's 5-1, the 926 save percentage. Devin Levi, I think, is going for the Sabres. He's 3-3 with an 896 save percentage. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, slightly better at 903. A lot was expected of the Sabres this season. They're still kind of finding their way a little bit. They haven't popped as may have been expected, and they're really going to be wanting to make a statement against the top team in the Atlantic Division. They want to show teams that they are legit, that they're for real, and the Bruins would love nothing better than to prove that they are not. Brandon Biro was sent back to AHL Rochester per a team release. And the Sabres, here's a look at what their lines are at the moment and who you should keep an eye out for. Obviously, there's the big guns in Skinner, Tage Thompson, Dylan Cousins, Jordan Greenway, Casey Middlestat, who leads them in scoring, with JJ Peterka on the second line, Zemgun Girgensons, Tyson Yost, and Kyle Postl on the third line, Victor Olofsson, Peyton Krebs, and Lucas Rusek on the fourth line. And of course, this marks Boston's first game against their old friend in Connor Clifton. He had missed a few games due to suspension. Should be interesting to see how the Bruins play him and push him in the defensive zone. Anyways, thank you again for bearing with me through a missed episode yesterday. Feeling a bit better, pumping the fisherman's friend down the gullet, and hopefully back to 100%. Life has just been pretty crazy these days, but I do love talking about the Bruins, and I thank you for joining me day in and day out here on the podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you again here tomorrow. Where's the outro? Bye-bye.